Greetings, everyone. Tonight, we're going to do a little bit differently. I'm actually going to have them run out on track for practice here so we can get to see all the trucks out there a little bit earlier than the main event with the size of the field and a lot of new faces and new places. We've got the All-Star truck here, the 77, which will be filled with multiple drivers throughout the season. Tonight, most don't know who's in the 77 yet, but it is Al Bunch in the number 77 Dodge Ram for Tyler Shangle Racing. Right behind him, you got Tim Kourting coming back from winning his championship just a couple weeks ago. Has committed to running this season to defend that championship. Few different looks out there, especially here you got a Subaru Baja. That is the 33 of Colton Smith, who formerly was driving in a Chevy. Switched over to the Baja, hopefully to get a little bit more luck on finishing better in the races. And even then, we've got Honda in the field too now. Right there, you got the Honda Ridgeline of Riley Sorrell Tracy coming down here from the Busch Series, with the Busch Series out for the rest of the year. And so, yeah, it's going to be quite the field. We got 40 drivers on tap here tonight, 200 miles at Daytona. Our Eastern Division is pretty well stacked. Fastest so far, the 55 of Dalton Hayes joins in for TKM, Tim Kourting's team there, in the 55 Ford. As you can see in front of him, we've got the 11 of Craig Bush and the 65 of Asiel Escobar. The nice thing about the way this series is going to run this summer, no last chance qualifiers, no sprint qualies to determine the rest of the field. That is why it got broke down into an East and a West category to accommodate for such a large growth of drivers in the series. So everyone is guaranteed to make a start between the East and the West every week, with no one going home. Now, that's obviously the case right now. If we continue to grow and get more drivers, it might become a little bit difficult, but that's why we've got the rides, the all-star seats, as we call them, which earlier right there in the 87, you got Kaylee Sheets in one of the all-star rides. That is going to be a rotating seat for the entire season, just as well as the 77 that Al Bunch is in tonight. So those will be rides that newcomers to our server will be able to hop in and be a part of the racing action. Practice coming to a close here, and it looks like Dalton Hayes may be our fastest guy here in the practice session. Practice is over. It'll give everyone an opportunity to finish their last lap here. Ooh, and the 19 of Atlee Weiss jumps to the top. Championship contender from last season, finished in the final three, came up short in the venture to try and beat Tim Kourting for the overall championship. I know it might be a pleasant surprise for some of you that I kind of, as I always do, I kind of rush into things. I didn't really have any set in stone plans to make this happen tonight, but I know the rest of my schedule would have been hard to get it fit in. So tonight we are racing with the holiday weekend. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Hopefully you can stick around for the whole race here tonight. Only 200 miles, so not a long race by any means. But season opener, which is always exciting. And looks like we're going to have some familiar faces at the front of the field. Kind of hop on over here to check on the qualifying as it she'll just go ahead and accelerate through. So it looks like starting on the front row, we've got Jordan Walker and Dalton Hayes, followed by Tim Hansen. Here's an interesting one. This will be his final race here tonight as he will be departing the team. This will open up that 9-seat to being another all-star ride that'll have multiple drivers fill it throughout the year, alongside Zevel Tom Foolington. Then you got Maggie Reams and James Robert, Al Bunch and Aunt Me Person, Kaylee Sheets and Jack Davis, Tim Kourting and Zach Armstrong, Chaz Chadwick and Gannon Bird, Asiel Escobar and James Reddick, Jack Ross and the 06 of Jessica Hergeson, John Brinker and David Bird, Atlee Weiss fastest in practice, but mid-pack in qualifying here, alongside the 05 of Rose Reina, Nate Gonzalez and GP Luxembourg, Chris Hergeson and Santi Messi, Logan Nagy and Rosevich, Riley Sorrell Tracy and Craig Bush, the 40 here of Bradley Ream alongside the 81 of Cannon Gage. Cannon Gage switches over to his own team of Cannon Gage Racing for this season. And then we got Braden Hunt and Jeffrey Gerald, AJ Kosnoff and Colton Smith, Taden Berggren and Leighton Aviard. And taking up the tail end of the field here, we got newcomer Kyle Ottawa and the 56 of Andre Stefan. With the new rules in place, super speedway racing should be very intriguing. Drivers that do fall at least a lap or two down are going to be subject to DQ. That way we don't get unnecessary wrecks at the front of the field. Black flags will be in full use if needed. So hopefully this could potentially be one of our best super speedway races in the USA trucks to date. So we're going to get ready for 80 laps here tonight. You're seeing one half of the USA trucks on the East Division start their season here tonight at Daytona. Off to the early lead, you got Jordan Walker, who is now fully converted up into the Cup Series. A lot of Cup talent still running here in the USA trucks to prove their worth, and Jordan Walker definitely stout competition here in the trucks. Tim Hansen, a lame duck, would be an odd situation if that truck had a good night tonight, but either way, all-star rides are still competing for wins regardless. And that's, the fascinating part is if some of those all-star entries get a win, it's going to keep someone else out of contending for the overall championship at the end of the season when the East and the West meet up to duke it out. Maggie Reams now on the inside with Al Bunch giving a good push. Al Bunch actually stepped away from full-time trucks this season, and it was a decent fit with a Dodge motor that they wanted him to hop in the rig here tonight. Kaylee Sheets, based on her finish in ARCA, earned that seat in the 87 for Atlee Weiss's TRD team there. And right there, you got our title contenders from this last season right in the inside lane of Tim Kourting and Chaz Chadwick, already sneaking their way to the front. Asiel Escobar and Jack Ross not too far behind, and even Atlee Weiss, so a lot of familiar faces towards the front of this one already. Another side story would be the fact that Subaru and Honda joining the fold here, looking for their first win as a manufacturer. They could get a win before Chevy does. And Chevy's been at it for 2 years now without a win. So that would be like pouring salt on the wound for the Chevy department if you get Honda or even Subaru in victory lane this early. You got at least one Honda and one Subaru there in the top 5. Asiel Escobar might be some of the first laps he's led in the series overall. He's been trapped in the sprint qualifiers the previous season, now getting a time to shine without qualifying into the main event. Main event racing here seems to be doing him just fine as he gets a lap under his belt there in the 65 Toyota Tundra for Todd Rat Racing. But keep an eye peeled on that 00 there. The ticking time bomb of Jack Ross and the 00. Tim Kourting peeks on the inside here. Looks like it might have been the 65 that led that lap as well, but not for long, as Tim Kourting takes the position. 3 wide in the middle. This could be a situation about to unfold. Jack Ross definitely did not want to get himself into that sticky situation. He's going to be dropping like a rock here with everyone on the inside making the move. Usually if you get a wreck, it's going to be early and it'll take out a big portion of the trucks, but hopefully we can stay without getting in a wreck at least until the first round of green flag pit stops. That would be nice. Man, there we go. And there's going to be the first wreck of the night. Might be a light wreck, it looks like. A lot of the drivers... Oh, and there's some extracurricular happening. We're going to follow him to the start-finish line here. Looks like Tim Kourting's going to maintain the lead. Oh, no, and they're wrecking under caution here, too. As all chaos is now breaking out. The crazy part is I even bumped the aggressiveness down on purpose because I know these super speedway races get kind of wonky once in a while. bumped it down to 92%, thinking that that would help. And obviously, sometimes you just ain't going to fix the crazy AI-ness on a 20-year-old game. So it looks like our field is going to be significantly smaller going to the restart. Looked like it all started in about turn 3, so we're getting upon where it happened. It's the 40 of Bradley Ream, it looks like, that kind of started that. The 40, 3 wide in the middle, hooks the 2 of Sorrell Tracy, collecting Kaylee Sheets and Al Bunch. But the all-clearing track comes back down and collects just about everyone else that was coming through. So there was not anywhere that they could go without coming upon the wreck here. Looks like these guys slowed up a little bit. The 55, I think, happened to wreck after that initial wreck. Truck's trying to get back up onto the track, just nowhere to safely return onto the track. Yeah, it's tough when you wreck at a super speedway because there's not much you can do about getting yourself clear of a sitting roadblock at 180 to 190 miles an hour. But then we had the aftermath of that where these guys couldn't get woed up in time. The 83 of Nate Gonzalez there. Ping pongs off a couple drivers. Looks like it's into Osiel Escobar and maybe Chris Hergeson. Chadwick, it looks like he'll be fine. He just didn't get a safe break there with the other guys running with ARCA brakes, as they would say. I think we covered just about all the wrecks that happened there. Going to be a lot of retirements just on the first wreck here, lap 7. So that included 2 of our all-star seats, which are technically a better vehicle for some of the newer drivers that may not have experience in the series. Those are going to be some heavy contenders out early in this one. Keely Sheets might actually still be able to keep going. Yeah, so Sheets will still go. And Al Bunch still going. So they're not out of it yet, but their trucks will be a little bit tweaked. So for the restart getting going here, looks like it'll be John Brinker and Tim Kourting. Out of the race, it looks to be the 2 of Riley Sorrell Tracy, the 06 of Jessica Hergeson, the 55 of Dalton Hayes, the 84, which I'm still going to have to learn names here a little bit, of GP Luxembourg is out, the 59 of Gannon Bird, the 92 of Kyle Ottawa, the 40 of Bradley Ream, and the 81 of Cannon Gage. So Cannon Gage off to a rough start already for his self-started team. Coming upon the restart here on lap 12. Field looks significantly smaller, as you can see. I don't know if everyone's caught back up to the back end. A few more trucks still trying to catch up. A few more trucks still on pit road trying to get some repairs done. So Now it's more of a sprint race with the size of field that we've got. Crazy part is a bunch of the drivers out were Chevys. So still, Chevy's going to have a steep hill to climb here today if they want to find their way in victory lane. You almost got to start thinking it's a bad omen or something for that. For anyone that carries the Chevy bow tie, there's not. Oh, I'll keep my mouth shut though, because looks like the 96 of David Bird is he's just fine running up there, so he's still in the mix. And David Bird would be one of the best that could get it done here today. John Brinker leading the way, pair of Fords with Tim Kourting right behind him. And then you got Atlee Weiss in third. These guys picking up where they left off at the end of the last championship. If we've got drivers that are not maintaining good speed, we might be able to flag them and get them out of here. Looks like Al Bunch with the damage. I'm going to go ahead. Fortunately for the 77, it is not going to have a good run here today. And keep them off track so we don't have any wrecks happen. Once you're making repeated trips down pit road, your day is pretty much done. We'll give the 42 here a few tries. Maybe a caution or something can go their way to get back into it. But in the meantime, it looks like John Brinker losing the lead right now to Jordan Walker. And Rose Reyna also in the mix here. Looks like, yeah, we still got Chadwick in the mix too, so LFG Motorsports, two of their drivers within the top 15. Honda with a good shot here today. Subaru, you got the 62 racing for Jack Ross, teammate to Jack Ross, who's right behind him, still in the fight here for Subaru to get a win. And then Hergeson Enterprise Racing running second there with Rose Reyna in the 05. Going to be a lot of fascinating storylines to follow throughout the season. And what kind of, fortunate, it's going to be fortunate for a lot of these drivers that struggled to make main events that we're going to see, I think, a lot of new winners for this championship in the summer here. It's going to be fun to see how many drivers get their first win. The only tough part is going to be rotating back and forth from the east to the west. These drivers you're watching tonight are going to have 1 week off as we rotate to the west coast next week. And it'll be 40 different drivers contesting for a win. So it'll be more of a bi-weekly situation to see, maybe you'll get to see yourself on a, bi-weekly period. But regardless, it's still going to be racing action and teams are involved. So you're still going to be, you might have a teammate on the West Coast to root for. Just going to be an interesting caveat to the season for sure. closing in on the lap traffic here of Leighton Avyard. And we'll make sure that they get him without causing a wreck here, as long as they don't. Gonna let them all get by him here, and I think we'll go ahead and give him the send home flag for the night. I was hoping to see if he could get in the draft and possibly change the attitude of that truck, but it's not proving to be the case. Gotta wait till it's clear of pit lane at least. There we go. That way we're not seeing him try to cut across traffic and cause a wreck. Second group here from 16th, 17th to 20th. Still trying to hold on and possibly get back into the mix here. Keely Sheets has lost the draft. So has Colton Smith. Tim Hansen pretty much out of sorts there. Zevel, Tom Foolington, Tayden Berggren. Yeah, this is going to be too late, I think. We'll see if maybe they pull to the apron here, because this is going to be a hairy situation. See, I don't like that. That's ridiculous. There we go. Didn't drag them out too far. It looks like they caught back up pretty quickly. That should give us a little bit of leeway for a while here. So John Brinker leading over Jack Ross, Atlee Weiss, and Jeffrey Gerald. And you got David Bird there in the top 5. That could be a feel-good story waiting to happen. Doesn't seem the damage on some of these trucks have caused significant speed loss. As you can see, the 65 of Asiel Escobar still holding in pretty strong here in the top 10. A few of these other drivers I do think had some damage that affected, or that were effectively gotten in that first wreck, but still holding on strong at the front of the field. In case you're just tuning in, there's only been one wreck so far, and it was a pretty big one, typical super speedway wreck. Took out about a third of the track. You had from 33rd on back to 40th there, out of the race due to the damage sustained. And there was more trucks with damage that have since been disqualified to allow for cleaner racing when the lead pack comes around to catch them. We've got about a 12 truck lead pack here. And still a lot of racing to go. I do think that's the appeal of this series. We've got so much disparity from the fastest truck to the slowest truck. And it makes for very fascinating racing because you're going to have people that are going to wreck. It's almost a given. And you're going to have talented drivers that overuse their stuff. So I mean, even a driver with max ratings of 100 to 100, they're not always going to win every race because they might be burning their tires and costing themselves a good shot at the finish versus someone that's kind of mid-pack that's just trying to save their stuff and kind of, play the long game. With such a gap in ratings, it does kind of weigh itself towards ARCA-esque type wrecks like we saw earlier here. We had a bunch of drivers not letting up and just running into each other. But that's why they got to start somewhere. You got to either start in the ARCA series or start in trucks. And this trucks series definitely a new horizon between the East and the West. And trying to figure out who's the best of the 80 drivers that we have signed up to race this season. It's going to be a very meaningful championship. I do believe that's why Tim Kourting wanted to come back and defend his championship. This one is going to carry a bit more weight if you can pull it off. Especially, you'll have a chance to win an East Championship, a West Championship, and the overall championship at the end of the season. So someone could sweep and win both, or we could have 3 different champions across the entire map. So lap traffic's causing a bit of commotion here. The 33 of Colton Smith. I'm not messing around tonight. I'm gonna, if they fall to the back rapidly, they'll get the black flag, but it looks like they might actually settle in here and draft with the front field. So we'll give them some time here to see how things fare. But yeah, this championship's going to carry a lot more weight than the previous championships ever have. And then we got a very diverse schedule across both series, or both divisions, as you're going to have all the East Coast schedule will be raced on the East Coast, and all the West Coast obviously on the West Coast of tracks that are available to pick from. Anything west of the Mississippi and anything east of the Mississippi. Looks like they're going to shuffle back in here. We'll let them run their race. It doesn't seem like they're going to be too much of a hassle once they do fall back another lap. Seen John Brinker lead quite a few laps here. Tim Kourting has been no slouch at the front of the field. Jakov Rossovich has been an interesting one, as we really don't have any stats on him, but joining the series this year alongside his partner in crime, Jack Ross, it's going to be interesting to see who does what heads up between the two of them. Tim Kourting sneaking into the inside, looks like going to take the lead away. Last season it was Dodge dominance, and the first season it was Toyota dominance. We really haven't seen a breakout season from Ford yet. And right now as they run Ford 1 and 2, that is also another crazy storyline, is the fact that LFG Motorsports has had all their success with Dodge up to this point, cutting ties with Dodge and heading to Honda. And same case can be said for Atlee Weiss, whose success had come dominantly in a Dodge, switching over to Toyota this season. Doesn't seem so far that that's been a huge change, as the two teams are still running pretty close to the front. But it'll be a long season. We'll see if the change actually does make a difference. Dodge still has edges in spots where Toyota doesn't. But at the same time, Toyota definitely has edges in departments that Dodge doesn't. So that keeps things interesting. And that's why you see so much parity within the series. Toyota might have the speed, but not the reliability, while Dodge might have the reliability, but not always the speed. From what we could tell, Honda, at least in research and development so far, Honda's pretty much even across the board. They don't have any strengths, but they don't really have any weaknesses either. And it's pretty crazy that we've got that much intel on the Honda power plant so far, but seems that they took the safe approach and bring in a package that's just solid all the way around. So only 22 trucks left running, and we're just shy of halfway here tonight. With only 22 trucks left running out of a 40 truck field, that means that first wreck really did take out about half the field. .62 there of James Reddick, putting an impressive run in here tonight, giving Subaru a good start to the season. Actually, most of our front field, Subaru, Honda, with Toyota mixed in there and a couple Fords. Seems that Subaru and Honda definitely did their math to match pace against the already established manufacturers here in the USA trucks. David Bird still hovering in the top 10, it looks like. Maybe an 11th, but still right on the edge, keeping it at the front of the field here. Logan Nagy, also relatively new to the USA Trucks, there in second with a Subaru. Has spent most of his time in the Sylvania Bush Series. Could be looking to have a good run here tonight. Subaru now running 2 and 3 behind Tim Kourting, but keep your eyes peeled there too. The 96 of David Bird making moves to get through the field, up to 5th now. Doing a black flag is not disqualifying them, but it's going to force them to pull down pit roads so that we don't have congestion at the lead here. Hoping it works to perfection. Tim Kourting still leading the way. Likely green flag pit stops along the horizon here. These drivers will have to make pit stops before long. There we go. Then we've got Rosevich now on the inside. Excuse me there. Rosevich taking the lead away from Tim Kourting. Potentially, John Brinker might want to push it 3 wide here, but decides against it. Instead, it looks like Jack Ross a little further back, pushing it 3 wide with James Reddick and Jordan Walker. And John Brinker, the first to come down pit road. That's a very lonely sight as he's the only one coming down pit road. That's going to cost him a drafting partner here in a moment when he comes back out on track. Going to be a jam-packed week for sure with the Cup Series. One of the prime events every year comes July 7th, the 777 annual at Las Vegas. It's the only crown jewel event that I have hosted since 2010. So I have not broke the streak. I kept it alive for 13 years now. Crown jewel event of the Sylvania Cup Series, July 7th. But then just a couple days later, likely to be around Saturday, maybe Sunday or Monday, the Western Division will take to the track for the first time. USA Trucks West Division, which will be hosted at Fontana for the Wild West 200. So we'll get to see the other half of the field racing on the 2-mile oval at Fontana. So it looks like we're going to have at least 2 packs here. The first pack that came after John Brinker, and this pack right here of about 4 trucks that'll have drafting help upon returning from their green flag pit stops. 45 of 80, so they're going to have to pit at least one more time before the end of this one to make it to the finish. And this might be an interesting scenario if some of the folks that lost the lead draft earlier might be able to catch back up with these green flag pit stops. Seems that Tim Kourting maintains his lead coming out from the green flag pit stops. Jack Ross, Atlee Weiss, Logan Nagy, Andre Stefan. I don't know where he came from. I don't remember him being in the top 10 prior to pit stops, but there he is in the top 10. Looks like Hergeson has lost the draft. Jordan Walker also outside of range. Osiel Escobar. Then you've got Santi Messi, Rose Reina, and Chaz Chadwick. Ant Me Person, James Robert, Craig Bush, Jack Davis. I wonder what happened to David Bird. The 96, 3 laps down now. David Bird was having such a good run, and perhaps some mechanical woes ailing him here as he's stuck on pit road. Oh, with the AI missing its pit stall, it had to recycle it back into the pit stall, so that's just an unfortunate mishap there for the 96 team. Haven't had a good run going. Looks like no longer the case here, as we have Atlee Weiss leading now over Andre Stefan. And now we got to wonder what happened to Tim Kourting, as the 50 truck has now fallen out of the picture. The 50 of Tim Kourting now retired from the race. What happened with the 50? Blown engine, it looks like, but what exactly? I don't see the 50 on there. That's a bummer. Was leading the race before that happened. 33 on the inside lane there. Does it have to do with a wreck? No, at that point he knew right then and there that he had... That was weird how that crossover went. I don't see any smoke yet. Blown up right there from the front of the field. Blown header on the number 50 truck, so seems that the first round of pit stops really shook up this race. Is now we've only got 6 trucks at the front of the field, and it is a colorful cast of characters at the front of the field. Looks to be about 4 of which are fighting for their first ever win here in the USA Trucks. Logan Nagy, James Reddick, John Brinker and Andre Stefan all without a win in the series. Reddick and Nagy would be a first, not just a first time for themselves, but a first time for Subaru. Jeffrey Gerald has a win to his tally already from last season, but it would be a first time win for the Honda manufacturers. So things are definitely getting interesting here in the closing laps of this one. As James Reddick leads the way, John Brinker on the inside, Jack Ross. You got 3 of your top 4, those potential first-time winners right now. Catching up to the lap traffic there of Ant Me Person and James Robert. If these two slow up the field, we could get some more drivers in the mix here, as the others have lost the lead draft. With lap traffic, that could help draw them closer. Jack Ross trying to decide to make the right lane and kind of makes the wrong move, but corrects pretty quickly there. Makes the pass on the lap traffic with Atlee Weiss in tow. Logan Nagy up to 3rd. Jeffrey Gerald on. I do believe it was Canada Day, either yesterday or today, so Jeffrey Gerald looking to get a win around that Canadian holiday. The rest of the field probably does not want to see Jack Ross at the front. That'll likely mean more terrorizing from the 00 camp through the rest of the weeks of the series. Atlee right behind him as they're able to shuffle through that lap traffic pretty quickly. Down to our final 24 laps here tonight at Daytona. Subaru looking good in their first ever venture here in the USA Truck Series. Jack Ross is the top Subaru team in this series, or at least in the East Division, I mean. And our lead Subaru talent in the West Series is in control from Adam Starr. Jack Ross leads the way. You often don't want to be the leader. You'll be the sitting duck. You want to be saving what you got behind the pack, trying to save your fuel, save your tires for one late dash at the end of the race here. So it's smart that Jack Ross lets Atlee by so that he can start conserving fuel, conserving tires. And that's often why you see the rotating conveyor belt of leaders, is the driver does not want to stay at the front lead and burn through their tires. That's why lead changes so drastically at these super speedway races, because they're trying to set up for the final lap of the race and save their stuff. Andre Stefan and James Reddick now 1 and 2. Atlee in third. Jeffrey Gerald, Jack Ross, Logan Nagy, and John Brinker. Still top 7 trucks within contention here. Definitely going to be a heartbreak for Tim Kourting, who had a great run going here tonight. Blew up the engine and had to retire just after halfway. Right after green flag pit stops, that he even shuffled back out in front with the lead and kind of turned this race upside down in terms of your favorite to win. Looked like Tim Kourting was on track to be one of the heavy hitters to win it here today. And very much up in the air right now, as this group of 6 at the front has been rotating around quite rapidly. Not really any one driver showing more strength than the other. Do got to give credit, though, Atlee still within the fight, and that's a dangerous formula against the rest of the field. That 19 truck knows how to make it to victory lane. Looks like James Reddick struggling to make the pass there, as well as Logan Nagy. We're going to stay within range of the draft, though, and ain't going to lose too much ground. Down to our final 20 laps here tonight. John Brinker leading the way. Andre Stefan now dipping inside to take that lead. Do feel that Dodge is going to take a heavy hit in the win category this year, having lost such heavy hitters like Chaz Chadwick and Atlee Weiss. That, too, is going to be an interesting storyline to follow throughout this season, is how Dodge fares without their flagship teams like that. Currently, one of their big flagship teams is the team Railfan Motorsports for Bradley Ream. They're going to continue to try and put together good finishes in the Dodge chassis. Only a 2-truck team for Bradley Ream, but still actually an improvement from last season where he was only running solo last year. So with a 2nd truck, possibly they could expand to more than that, and they may very well be our flagship Dodge team going forward. They're catching up to the 87 here of Kaylee Sheets, and her speed is not quite where it needs to be, so we will go ahead and give her the slip for the evening here. Gotta wait till the other drivers get around her. We've seen situations unfold where you black flag someone and it causes a wreck, and you don't want that. She gave it her best go, and unfortunately, getting in a wreck early in this one really put an unsatisfactory end of the evening for her. Competitive as that truck was, it's going to be interesting to see it each week with different drivers who may or may not get a win in that truck. It's going to be a fun season for that truck and that team. Jack Ross, Logan Nagy, and Atlee Weiss at the front of the field here. Still, we're going to have to get at least one more round of pit stops before the end of this one, as 15 laps left to go now. Likely we'll see the final round of green flag pit stops at about lap 70, I'd imagine. Atlee tries to cut up high there, but figures out really quickly that the 78 was already there. Looks like James Reddick has kind of lost track of the front of the field here. So Reddick in 7th, struggling to catch back up to the back of the field. He's going to need possibly a caution or some luck with green flag pit stops to catch back up to the lead 6 here. Crazy that Chaz Chadwick, even with a bit of a struggle since that first wreck, has worked his way back up to 10th here tonight, just off of staying alive and staying out of trouble for the rest of it. So now only 6 trucks left in contention for the win here tonight, with about 10 laps to go here. Still 3 drivers that could potentially get their first win this evening, as you've got John Brinker leading the way, fighting for his first ever win in the USA Trucks, followed by Andre Stefan and Logan Nagy. 'Cause But the other remaining 3 drivers, no stranger to victory lane, is Atlee Weiss. Jack Ross has hit victory lane a couple times in his career. And Jeffrey Gerald, a one-time winner in the USA Trucks. That one win was good enough to lock him into the playoffs this previous season. And he didn't go all that far, but still had a good run and had a much better finish in the championship due to that one win. I don't imagine these guys have saved fuel to make it to the finish. I still think we're going to have at least one more round of pit stops. And it's getting pretty tight here at the end as we only have 8 laps left to go. Whether or not these guys are going to have a lot to lose by making that one final pit stop or everything to gain. The 62's way off the pace, having lost that draft. 8th, Jordan Walker. David Bird a couple laps down in 19th. Ant Meeperson in 14th. So yeah, it's getting down to crunch time here right now. And potentially someone can get their first ever victory here tonight. It's not a big topic this early in the season, but a win tonight definitely will lock yourself into the combined championship, the East-West championship at the end of the season. So definitely you're going to be looking towards that. Getting the win tonight will help a long ways further into the season. What's crazy is the fact that we have 11 races for the East, 11 races for the West, and only 10 of the top, basically the top 10 from the East and the top 10 from the West will transition over to a top 20 championship battle. And so you could have 11 different winners, and it'll come down to who got the most points. There could be an 11th winner that did not earn their free ticket to the next round of the championship battle. And it could very possibly happen the way that it's laid out the schedule on somewhat of a bi-weekly period, seeing that. Some of these drivers having a longer break between races, it'll be harder to establish a dominant streak of winning and whatnot. Now down to 5 laps to go, and I still have not seen anyone dip down pit road, so perhaps these drivers were able to save their fuel and feel confident that they can make it to the finish here. Now down to 4 laps to go. It's either going to be they'll run it till they run out of gas, or we'll see people pulling off onto pit road with 1 lap to go. Fascinatingly, I don't think we've seen Jeffrey Gerald leading very much. So he's getting to the front here in crunch time, and possibly was saving what he had to try and make this last charge. 3 laps to go now. Still wasn't able to lead a lap there, but within striking distance. Logan Nagy leads the way. Jack Ross now on the inside with a help from Andre Stefan. Lap traffic is now going to be a factor here on this lap as the 33, a sitting roadblock, slows everyone up here. It's going to allow Andre Stefan to kind of stretch out a lead here. Doesn't want to get too far out ahead because he'll start to be out of the draft at that point, and then he'll get gobbled up by everyone behind him. Yep, right there, as you can see, Stefan kind of reached his limit on how far out in front he could get before the other guys and their speed started to catch back up. Logan Nagy went from the lead now back to 6th almost. We almost got a 3-wide fight for the lead here, as it's Atlee Weiss, Jack Ross, and John Brinker. Still haven't got around that 33 of Colton Smith back there. And with 2 laps to go, not a lot of time left in this one. John Brinker leading, cuts off in front of Atlee Weiss. If he's going to do it right, he needs to cut back down and block the advancing lane underneath him, but fails to do so as Andre Stefan now leads the way. Six truck fight with the white flag waving. 1 more lap to go, this time by. Andre Stefan led that lap, as the other drivers behind him trying to move around and find the right spot to execute the final move here at the end of the race. Andre Stefan out front, keeping a steady wheel at the front of the field. But here we go, we got John Brinker on the inside. Not much stability on that inside line. As you can see, Atlee giving Andre quite a push. Those 3 on the outside way more organized than the 2 on the inside. Andre Stefan gets a good enough push and even cuts down in front of John Brinker to take the win here today and get his first career win in the USA Trucks. That's a Jacob Schenkel Racing Ford F-150 that won the race here tonight. Andre Stefan gets his first career win. Looks like Atlee coming home in 2nd. John Brinker in 3rd. Jack Ross in 4th. Logan Nagy in 5th. And Jeffrey Gerald in 6th. First career win for Subaru and Honda is going to have to wait at least a week as Ford takes the victory tonight. Especially going to have to wait another week for Chevy. Looks like Jordan Walker coming home 7th. James Reddick in 8th. Chaz Chadwick with a solid 9th. And Rose Reyna tops your top 10. As you can see on the ticker, the rest of the field from there on. But overall, congratulations to Andre Stefan on getting their first career win in the USA Trucks. Atlee Weiss looking like he's going to keep things going for the new team, giving Toyota their first, giving the first top 5 for Atlee in a Toyota. Chadwick gets a pair of top 10s with Jeffrey Gerald in 6th and himself in 9th. And of course, just being a very typical super speedway race, we had a bunch of drivers that wrecked out. So thanks for everyone that tuned in, especially. That was a well-viewed race for the season opener here in the East Division. Didn't seem like we had much of an off season, as these guys really only had about 2 weeks to recoup, recover, and get ready for the next season. And we're off and rolling for the summer portion this year. So like I mentioned, we're going to have a big cup race coming towards the middle of the week here this Friday with the 777 annual, which has been run for the past 13 years. Vegas never fails to excite, as it's always a great race with the Sylvania Cup Series. And yeah, then we got the West Division opening up their season next Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whichever it may fall on, where they'll be taken to the 2-mile oval of Fontana. So yet again, everyone, thanks for tuning in. It was an exciting super speedway race. I'm not a big fan of super speedway racing, but it was still exciting finish at the end there. You got to see a lot of side-by-side racing and a lot of potential victories that could have played out there. So hopefully all have a safe 4th of July. Please be very safe when lighting fireworks or any of that, and just enjoy your weekend. Have a good one, and catch you on the next stream.